Sometimes you'll be given an equation and it won't be in the simplified form. So I'm going to have to rewrite this so it looks like this. So in order to do that, the first thing that I have to do is I have to make sure that both of my square terms are positive, because both of these square terms are adding together, right? So I'm going to take all of these numbers that I have over here and I'm going to move them to the other side of the equal sign. So I have x squared minus 8x, and I'm going to leave a space for it. Because in order to actually make this look like that, I have to do something called completing the square. So I'm going to do the exact same thing to the y. Plus y squared minus 2y plus blank. And then I'm going to take the 13 and I'm going to move it over to the other side. So this is going to be minus 13. Do you remember completing the square from last year in algebra?
Kind of. I mean,
Okay.
It sounds familiar. But...
So this is the trick to completing a square. You're going to take this middle number. So I'm going to write negative 8. You take that number, you divide it by 2, and then you square the whole thing. So what's negative 8 divided by 2?
4, or negative 4.
And then square it.
16.
So this number written here is 16. Since I added 16 to this side, I also have to add 16 to that side to balance it off, so I haven't changed the equation. So I'm going to do the exact same thing with this number. I'm going to take negative 2, I'm going to divide it by 2, and then I'm going to square it. So what's that equal to?
2.
Negative 2 divided by 2 is?
Would it be, isn't it just negative 1?
And then you square it.
No, so 1.
So 1. So I put 1 here, and then I'm going to add 1 here. Okay. So now that I've completed the square, I'm going to erase this part. Now, in order to make this perfect square look like this, I always put my parentheses first so I don't forget to write the square on the outside. I take the square root of that, which is x. I take the sign that's in the middle. So since that's negative, this has to be a negative sign there. And then I take the square root of that term.
So 4.
So now that looks like that. So that means that my h would be what number?
Negative 4. No, 4.
4, because it's always the opposite, right? I'm going to do the exact same thing with this one. I'm going to take the square root of that, which makes that y. I'm going to take the sign that's in the middle, which is negative, and then I take the square root of that, which is 1. So that means that this is equal to 1. So that's my center. Then I just simplify all this. So I have 13 minus 17, which is 4. So my radius is equal to
2.
So now I can write the circle. I can actually draw it. Okay. So this is what you need to write down on the paper. To complete the square, take the middle term, divide it by 2, and then square it. And then write that as your C. And if you remember from last year, the number in front of here is A, that number is B, and that number is C when you write a quadratic. Whatever you add to one side of the equation, you have to add to the other side of the equation. So we're just going to do this process a bunch of times until you get the hang of it. Okay. I'll do the heavy lifting to begin with, and then I'm going to have you eventually doing this all by yourself. So you can do it on that board. So let me clear this and find what the next one is.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so go ahead and write number 3. Okay, I'll copy that. So we have x squared minus 2x minus 23 is equal to 2y minus y squared. Okay, first step, this is what I want you to do. I want you to get all of the letters on one side of the equation and the number that's by itself on the opposite side of the equation. So because that's negative, I want to bring these two terms over there.
So you have to subtract the 2y though, right?
Yes, subtract the 2y and add the y squared. So x squared minus 2x. And then I want you to put a blank there to leave space so we can actually complete the square. And then it's going to be plus y squared minus 2y. And then I'm going to put a blank. And then I'm going to add 23 over there. So that's going to be 23 there. Okay, to complete the square, you take the middle term, you divide it by 2, and then you square it. So what is that number supposed to be?
1.
So you do it to both sides. And then this one would also be what?
1.
So I do that to both sides. Now we got to fill in the binomials. So we take the square root of that, which is what?
X.
We take the sign in the middle, which is what?
Negative.
Just negative. I just want the sign. I do not want the number. And then we take the square root of that.
So 1.
Then I do it again. And then what is that equal to?
5.
What kind of 5? What's this plus that plus that?
25.
There you
Oh,
go.
okay. I'm done.
Okay, so tell me what the center would be.
Negative 1. Oh, 1 and 1.
And what is the radius?
5.
Good. All right. So remember, take the middle term, divide it by 2, square it, and then add that number to both sides of the equation. Okay. The next one, I'm going to let you do most of the work until you get stuck. So write down number 4. Okay, let me write it. So y squared minus 6y equals negative x squared minus 19 plus 8x. Okay, so tell me what to do.
So it's going to be x squared plus 8x.
Nope. When I move that 8x from here over to that side, what happens to that sign?
Oh, I was doing it. I was moving the other ones to the other side.
Well, the signs dictate which one you actually have to do. Is that sign negative or positive?
Negative.
It has to be positive.
Oh, okay.
It has to be positive.
I didn't have the negative right now.
Okay. So I don't want you to get hyperbola.
Okay. So x squared
Mm-hmm.
minus 8x plus y squared.
Plus, got to put a blank there because we're going to have to fill in a number there. Okay. Plus
Y squared minus 6y blank
plus blank
equals negative 19.
Good.
So 16 in the first blank.
Right. Make sure you add it to both sides.
And 9 in the other one. So for this one, so it's x minus 4 and y minus 3 equals 12.
Yeah.
What?
No, 6, right?
6, yeah.
6, right? Okay, so the center is where?
4 and 3. And the radius is?
Don't get stuck. What are you supposed to do to that number in order to find the radius?
It's half of it.
It's not half.
No, it's square root.
It's square root. And this is an answer. You can have a radius as a square root of 6.
Oh, 6, okay.
It's just a square root of 6. That is the answer for the radius.
Okay.
All right. You actually picked up on that really quickly, so let's just do one more. What is going on with this thing? This update is like messing up my computer. Okay, go ahead and do number 5.
So are you going to move just the 4x to that side?
It has to be. Everything has to be positive. So you're going to have to move stuff so the y squared term is positive.
So you're going to move.
You got to move everything on the other side over. You just have to do it.
And then move the 85 to the other side.
And then move the 85 to the other side.
Okay.
Okay. Oops.
There's still going to be a negative y though, or negative 20y, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter what the y term is. It matters what the square terms are. So this is 4x squared minus Oops. Never mind. Plus or no other. Are there any other x's? Is that 30? Is that 32x or y?
32x.
Minus 32x.
I forgot the blanks, but.
Plus blank equals. Oh, sorry. Plus 4y squared minus 20.
Does it matter if the x's are first? Like I said, the y's before.
You normally just write it in this way. I'm just doing it because I'm moving stuff over already. Because you know your general one, look at the equation for your general, which one comes first?
The x's.
So you want to make sure you write it that way. And this is negative 85, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you see how there's a 4 there and there's a 4 there?
Can you simplify or something?
You're going to have to factor first. So I'm going to actually do this one so you can actually see it. What I could do, this is probably what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do anyway. What I'm going to do is I'm going to divide everything by 4 first. So this is going to be x squared minus 8x plus blank. I don't want to do it that way because I want to make sure I get the right answer. I'll try it that way and see if it works, but I'm not sure if it's going to work doing it like that. This is what you're supposed to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to factor the 4 out. So this is 4, this is x squared minus 8x plus blank, and then this would be plus 4 times y squared minus 5y plus blank equals negative 85. Okay, so now I'm going to complete the square. So that's 16, right?
Oh, yeah. And then this would be 2.5 squared.
25 over 4. You literally have to do it that way.
Okay.
So you have 5 divided by 2 squared. So that's where that 25/4 comes from. Okay. And I don't want you to be scared of that number because something nice is going to actually happen here.
Okay.
You see that 4 there?
Mm-hmm.
When I'm adding the numbers over on this side, I have to take the 16 times the 4 on the outside. What is that equal to?
64.
So I'm going to add 64 here. Because that's the total amount that I've actually added to this equation when I put that 16 in there. I have to do the exact same thing to this. What is 4 times 25 over 4?
100. Wait, no, 25, right?
It's just 25, so it's not going to matter anyway, right? So this is plus 25. And so now I have, what is 64 plus 25?
89.
And what's 89 plus 85?
So 4.
Okay, so I'm going to rewrite this. I got 4x squared plus, I'm going to actually rewrite it as a binomial now. So I have 4 times x minus 4 squared plus 4 times y minus 5 over 2 squared is equal to 4.
5 over 2?
Yeah.
Oh, you just simplified. Okay.
I simplified it, right? Okay, so I have a 4 here, I've got a 4 there, and I've got a 4 there. Guess what happens to all the 4s?
They cancel out.
They cancel out. So that one cancels, and that one cancels, making a what number here?
1.
1. Because when you cancel stuff, you get a 1. So your equation is going to be x minus 4 squared plus y minus 5 halves squared equals 1. So tell me where the center is.
4 and 5 over 2.
And then your radius.
It's 1. Oh, no, square root of wrong.
What's the square root of 1?
1.
1. So that's as hard as it can get, basically. But those numbers are going to eventually cancel out. And I think I would have gotten the same thing if I had divided that by 4, but since it didn't divide nicely into 85, I decided to do it the other way by factoring. Okay. All right. I'm not going to do any more stuff with that. If we have to retouch it next week, we can. She said that she's not even going to do the circle stuff until Friday anyway next week.
Oh, yeah.
So let's do some definition stuff now. I'm going to stop this video.